A mother shows a photograph of her son to a returning prisoner of war trying to find him. Austria, 1947. Marilyn Monroe was secretly filmed in a 15-minute adult film performing oral sex. The film is not publicly available. It was bought by a private collector for $1.5 million. An elderly Hungarian woman and 3 children are sent to the gas chambers at Auschwitz, 1944. Russian soldiers without insignia, with machine guns near the building of the Supreme Council of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, March 1, 2014. Unit 731 conducted experiments on Chinese women who were raped, impregnated, and purposefully infected with syphilis to see if the disease would be passed on hereditarily. A black woman protects a racist from an angry mob, 1996. In the Congo, Belgians cut off the hands of locals as punishment for poorly performed rubber-gathering work, late 19th century. Tsutomu Yamaguchi survived the explosion in Hiroshima, left for work in Nagasaki, and 3 days later survived the bombing there too. The last execution by guillotine did not take place in the Middle Ages, as many tend to think, but after the release of the first Star Wars film on September 10, 1977. A rare photograph of the cruel tyrant George Harry Gault, a British colonial officer who arrived in Ibanda in 1905. Sometime later, one of the weary Ugandans named Rutaraka would kill him. There were also brothels and concentration camps, and very often the girls were abused by other women, such as the commandant's wives, simply for pleasure. Yugoslavian flight attendant Vesna Vulovic. In 1972, she fell from a plane blown up by terrorists at an altitude of 10,160 meters, 33,330 feet, landed in the snow, and survived. The Man with Two Heads, Pascual Piñon, Mexico, early 20th century. A friendly conversation between Soviet and German soldiers in September 1939 after the partition of Poland. Such photographs were never officially published in the USSR. Men's anti-masturbation ring, 19th century, used in psychiatric clinics and sometimes at home. Private Richie sniffs a letter sent by his girlfriend from Oklahoma and scented with her perfume, Vietnam, 1966. Artist Marc Monnier draws during the Persian Gulf War, 1991, Kuwait. The first known use of biological weapons, the Siege of Kaffa in the 14th century. The attacking Tatars catapulted plague-infected corpses into the city, causing an epidemic. It is believed this contributed to the spread of the Black Death in Europe. In the US in the 1800s, the side saddle was created so women could ride decently, which was also often recommended for treating hysteria. One of the most powerful and terrifying photos of the Hungarian uprising, the execution by rebels of the defenders of the Budapest City Party Committee. Baker Daniil Kutanin died of dystrophy in besieged Leningrad. He did not take a single crumb of bread, despite thousands of loaves passing through his hands. In Japan from the 17th to 19th centuries, there was anazumo, or female sumo. It originated in districts where there were brothels. Prostitutes wrestled either each other or blind men. In the 18th century, ladies carried a vinaigrette, a case with ammonia acetic mixture or dry-smelling salts. Due to corsets, they often fainted, and a few breaths from the vinaigrette helped them quickly recover. Love is stronger than all prejudices. The meeting of a KKK member's child and a black state trooper, 1992. One of the warehouses, filled to the ceiling with victims' shoes. Auschwitz, Poland, 1944. In 1952, Einstein was offered the post of President of Israel, but he refused, citing a lack of necessary experience. Tutankhamun's parents were brother and sister, and this is what he looked like according to scientists' reconstruction. With nylon stockings scarce, women would paint their legs so it looked like stockings. 1940s. The shortest war in history, the Anglo-Zanzibar War, took place on August 27, 1896, between Great Britain and Zanzibar. It lasted only 38 minutes. Pictured, the Sultan's palace after the shelling. Between 1971 and 1989, the Aversion Project was implemented in military hospitals in South Africa, which was aimed at eradicating homosexuality. First of all, it is surprising that priests diagnosed the homosexuals. Group photo of Japanese kamikaze pilots before an attack on the central base of the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, 1944. Small, large, and ugly people who were exhibited as human curiosities to the paying public in the United States, 1932. The body of the last thylacine, Tasmanian tiger, on Earth, and the farmer who killed it, 1930. Wounded when a mine blew up his Jeep, an ambulance driver sobbed by the side of the road after learning that a friend was killed in the blast, Korea, 1950. A separate entrance for colored people at a supermarket in Alabama, 1956. A Swedish woman hitting a neo-Nazi protester with her handbag. The woman was reportedly a concentration camp survivor, 1985. The last day of distributing gold, which the government had been intensively seizing from the population the entire previous year. China, 1949. Out of 100,000 people, only the first 50 who bribed the police received gold. In 1989, the Jack family disappeared after moving to Prince George, where the father took a logging job. After a call saying they had arrived safely, they were never seen again. This remains one of Canada's enduring mysteries. It is believed that if a person recognizes at least 25 historical figures depicted in this picture, they are already sufficiently educated. An Afghan war veteran cries, kneeling by a portrait of his fallen comrade, 1981. Photograph entitled "The Eyes of Hatred" of Joseph Goebbels when learning that the photographer taking his picture was Jewish, 1933. A Soldier's Return Home, Vienna, Austria, 1946. Gay activists carry a mile-long rainbow banner through New York City to mark the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, 1994. 8-year-old Christian accepts the flag during the memorial service for his father, who was killed on patrol in Iraq just a few weeks before he was due to return home. In the Middle Ages, the wedding night was a public event. Egyptians try Pepsi-Cola, Cairo, 1946. 2 American soldiers with a captured German anti-tank weapon, the Panzerschreck, during World War II. Do not wish for health and wealth, but wish for luck. For on the Titanic everyone was rich and healthy, but only a few were lucky. Winston Churchill. In the late 20th century in the DPRK, North Korea, there was a famine that claimed, according to official data, from 10,000 to 3 million lives. Corporal Adil Sahin and Lieutenant Hall, the last living Turkish and Australian participants of the Battle of Gallipoli, at the very spot where they tried to kill each other 75 years before this meeting, 1990. The 39th U.S. President, Jimmy Carter, once sent his jacket to the dry cleaners, forgetting a cheat sheet with the nuclear launch codes in the pocket. In 17th century England, women baked so-called cockle bread for their lovers. A piece of dough was pressed against the vulva to get an imprint. It was believed that such bread would act as an aphrodisiac. John Snow, an English doctor from the 19th century, who single-handedly uncovered the causes of the cholera epidemic, but other doctors did not believe in his theories. Bergen-Belsen SS women camp guards are paraded for work in clearing the dead. World War II. In the Kingdom of Tonga, it was traditional to cut off the hands of those who participated in the king's burial to preserve the sanctity of their touch. Today, the custom is more humane. The gravediggers are forbidden to use their hands for 100 days. Other people feed them. Marie Azélie Hadel, the last Hadel to own Whitney Plantation, and one of her enslaved house girls. The population hides in a swamp during the Vietnam War. A family portrait, a mother with her son, and instead of the father who died on the front lines of World War I, his greatcoat. Great Britain, 1926. In Germany in 1941, an inflatable Aryan doll was created for soldiers. The goal was to stop the spread of syphilis from Parisian prostitutes for the purity and health of the nation. Execution in Turkey in the 18th century. A woman caught in a sexual act before marriage was sewn into a sack with cats and drowned. Brigitte Bardot, the sex symbol of the 60s, but beauty does not last forever. The leader in the number of assassination attempts. According to Fidel Castro's head of security, there were 638 assassination attempts on the Cuban leader, mainly by the CYA. Mixed family smile for a self-shot. Looks like one of the two is holding the camera, with their little baby, England, 1940s. The 266th Pope Francis. In his youth, he was a fan of rock music. Joe Arity, a 23-year-old mentally disabled man with an IQ of 46, doctors called him an imbecile, was executed for murder. Police forced him to give a false confession. In the Middle Ages, it was believed that people with genetic abnormalities were born from the sexual act of a woman and Satan, so no one faced any responsibility for killing such a person. American officers at the Ohrdruf concentration camp, April 1945. As American troops approached the camp, German guards shot the remaining prisoners. The Nazis used victims' hair to produce socks, fuse, ropes, and mattresses. Camp commanders had to report monthly on the amount of hair collected. The son of a poor farmer graduated from university. His father worked in the fields for 4 years to pay for his son's education. Maggie de la Riva identifies the sons of famous and wealthy men who, feeling unpunishable due to their status, kidnapped and raped her 5 days earlier. Marine reservists practicing an amphibious landing in Coronado, and an unfazed man relaxing, 1978. Self-proclaimed Reverend Father Yod with his wives, 1970s. His Los Angeles commune of the 70s turned sex, drugs, and rock and roll into a brilliant religious formation. 8 such mirrors were found in Çatalhöyük, a Neolithic site in Turkey. All these mirrors date back approximately 8,000 years, and each was made from a piece of obsidian. An American certificate for aiding starving children in the Soviet Union. The owner of this certificate has fed one hungry orphan, USA, 1923. On the ruins of the Brest Fortress, 1961. Meet Frederick Grant Banting, the scientist who synthesized insulin, giving millions of diabetics a chance for survival. The slogan of French students in 1968, "Humanity will find true happiness only when the last bureaucrat is hanged with the guts of the last capitalist." A youth trend of the 50s in the US. If a girl wears a dog leash on her left ankle, she has a boyfriend. If on the right, she is looking. Marilyn Monroe's last photo shoot, 3 weeks before her death. USA, 1962. Two illustrations condemning the crimes of the corset and how it maims and restricts women's bodily organs. The symbol of the Ku Klux Klan became white suits and masks. Klan members burned crosses and terrorized their victims. In total, over 130,000 black people, Jews, and Asians suffered. The Klan was only definitively disbanded in 1944. The Spanish flu killed more people than World War I. American obscurantism, 1873. A bra model, fashionable in the 40s and 50s. Harold Whittles hears for the first time in his life after having a hearing aid installed. The longest coma lasted 42 years. An American woman who became known for spending almost half a century in a coma, Eduarda O'Bara. Stars of the 90s, then and now. Time cannot be stopped. The beauty of Native American women. Army priest in a camouflage cassock, Vietnam, 1968. Berlin residents search for food in the ruins, 1945. Everyone has embarrassing photos from the past. King George V's 10-day royal hunting expedition in Nepal. Numerous tigers, rhinoceros, bears, leopards, deer, boar, porcupines, and birds were killed with a massive 12,000 crew in 1911. Typhoid Mary, Malin quarantined for life on North Brother Island, New York City, 1915. A German woman facing public humiliation because of a romantic affair with a Polish man, 1942. American prisoners of war liberated from a Japanese concentration camp, Philippines, 1945. Photos of Titanic survivors, Lolo and Michelle, reunited with their mother, 16th of May, 1912. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.